All right. Well, welcome to today's webinar, all about marketing in a recession. So what is that going to mean? We'll unpack that here in a minute here for us, but kind of to set the ground of this webinar as a whole. I was talking to Chuck, and really have talked to a couple, quite a few different companies who have started bringing up recession. We've heard it all in the news. What does that look like? How does that feel? Some of us have been in the industry when the last recession happened, and there's some scary tension and some fear that it's going to naturally build up after these last couple of years, last few years here that have just been amazing for the home improvement industry. So, as this is kind of topic, why don't we start with just kind of bringing it, to the forefront of our attention here and start thinking about it as businesses. It's already on the tip of our contractors' tongues, as well as the homeowners that we serve on a regular basis. Without further ado, I wanted to obviously introduce you to my guest today, Chuck. And Chuck, tell us a little bit about yourself, and a little about your background.
So my background has been in sales and sales leadership for over 20 years. I coach companies all over the United States, Canada, and as well as bringing in Top Rep, which is it's a boot camp for sales reps and sales leaders. And so I'm sales, sales, sales. But we also do jump right into the business itself to help people understand their business. And I'm glad that you brought up the recession. It is. We hear about it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we hear it in the news and we hear it from our customers, the homeowners that we serve. And we need to be prepared with not only how that changes marketing, but how it changes sales, how it changes kind of how we approach business as a whole. So the first question that we had for you, Chuck, I want to propose is like, how does really marketing change with fear of a recession? So we can kind of look at this from two different ways. How does that change from a homeowner's perspective and their perception? And then how does that change in what we need to do as businesses to kind of adapt to that and speak to that fear?
So as far as marketing is concerned, there's not a whole lot that you should be doing as far as differently from right now. What a lot of companies do, and this is why they go out of business, is they stop marketing. Oh, I can't afford it. The recession's coming, the sky is falling, and all this other stuff. And then they stop marketing and they go right out of business. So the smartest thing to do is to hold the line, keep marketing, because as soon as you slow it down, so will your business. And then when that business starts to slow down, you're thinking that it's because of the recession, and it's not. It's because you slowed your own marketing down. Now, the other thing when we're looking at the marketing is we have to be smarter about the marketing. I'm seeing people with billboards and some of these other things that just don't produce, but there's a lot of ego behind it. So they keep doing it, and where they could actually be using that in a lot more digital, a lot more of the stuff that maybe even the mailers. We're seeing mailers start to work again. And so a lot of those types of marketings need to be looked at rather than some of the things that aren't working. The other thing that you need to look at is tracking your marketing. We go into a lot of these companies, and some of them are very large companies, and they do a very poor job at tracking their marketing. And say, hey, I want to see your lead source, and I want to see how many leads a week you're getting from it. What is your close rate? What's your NSLI? And they look at me like a deer in headlights. And it's like, well, when that recession, if it ever hits, which I'm not sure it's going to, but if it does come, at least you know what's producing and what's not.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, you hit it on the head there is that I think we're in the home improvement industry. I think the recession is going to hit the home improvement industry radically different than the last recession, if there is one. And it's going to affect, people are staying in their homes longer, all that stuff here. Obviously, when it actually touches the home improvement industry, it's more in the credit than anything. And just buyer perception is what we kind of hear. But when it comes to running a business, as you said, when it comes to marketing, you need to make sure that you're pulling back on marketing methods always, recession or no recession, that aren't producing or have extremely high marketing costs because you've measured it. So whether that's TV or radio, and if you're not measuring those can be fantastic outlets, but you're not measuring the outcome there, then you're just kind of throwing money at the wind and trying to accumulate one giant marketing cost. And when we get reports back from contractors on our end, and they just have grouped categories for online leads, and then for their TV, or if they do any print or anything like that, or they don't track it at all, there's not really a baseline to be able to go off of to say we can help them or not, or if they're even going to be successful with online leads as a channel. That might not be the case at all. So some people are really, really good at print, and they should just be doubling down on that right now because it's actually working for them.
The other thing that people need to start looking at is how they work these leads. When your company starts sending leads over, what are they doing with it?
Yep.
There's so many times when people are, oh, this lead sucks and that lead sucks. It's not that the lead sucks. It's how you book the appointment that makes it suck. And I just got off of a coaching call where the coaching client thought that, like, oh, that just can't be, that can't be. And when we set up their phone room the right way, he's like, I can't believe how easy this is now. The sales reps are now trusting the lead source rather than bashing it all the time. And it's the same lead source. We're just setting it differently.
Yep. Well, I think that one of the biggest things that I've seen over the last 9 months in relation to that is that this whole speed to lead kind of mantra that we've heard when it comes to like taking leads, and the faster you reach them, the better. Well, that's like, well, yeah, everyone's doing that now. How do you differentiate yourself? And now calling a lead faster is actually can be hurtful, because you're with TCPA and with like spam likely coming up on phone numbers today. There's so many intricacies to that. But setting up and how you set an appointment, how you reach an appointment, how you communicate with a customer today, the customer experience is really what sets companies apart when it comes to like actually lead generation and turning those into an appointment. And it's drastic. It's surprising how we provide leads to some companies and then they convert them into appointments. But other companies, even big companies, we provide appointments to, because that takes, there's a lot that goes into lead to appointment conversion. Right. And some people just aren't, they don't have the team or the scale to be able to do that effectively. And sometimes we can do it better for them in that side. But so I'm curious from your perspective when it comes to kind of switching gears over to sales, which I think this affects marketing as well. At the end of the day, it's homeowner perception. How does a recession or fear of a recession from a homeowner's perspective change how we sell in the home? And I think obviously that's just a new thing that, people, I think we talked about it. Is it like, that's a rebuttal that you're going to have to, run into as a salesperson, that's going to push back a little bit as a homeowner going, well, I don't know if I want to spend that much money. So I don't know if you can speak to that.
So the phrase, if you make it easy enough, they'll buy anything, is so much more important now than it was even a year ago. Mm-hmm. And so we use financing. Financing has doubled in just the last quarter.
Yep.
The reason why is because before, everybody was stroking checks, go ahead and use my credit card. Well, now cash flow is king, because they're seeing what might be happening. It doesn't mean it is going to happen, but what might be happening in the future here. And they want to keep their cash. And so if we can let them know that, hey, we can make this easy for you, and we can finance this, you can still keep your cash in the bank, all of a sudden our close rates go up, and our close rates are going up because the confidence of the fact that they get to keep the money in the bank in case something were to happen is moving up quite quickly right now, we're seeing.
In relating that to obviously a lot of companies that are on the call right now already offer kind of the no interest, no payment for 24 months, all that kind of, the promotional type of offers. From your experience, have you seen those starting to work better more recently here? Is kind of what from a financing side of things is like really kind of moving the needle from a homeowner perception, or is it just kind of bringing that up as another payment option, for for even roofs, which isn't, I'd say less financed projects than windows and baths, obviously currently.
Right. And when you're looking at financing, the same as cash financing is moving up quickly.
Okay.
You're still seeing a lot of the long term. But when
Yep.
I'm sitting in front of a homeowner and I let them know that, hey, right now I don't need anything but a signature from you. I don't need anything from a signature from you for the next, 12 months,
Yep.
even 24 months in many cases. And there sits that opportunity to make it so easy. We see this all the time with anything that people finance. All I need is a signature. And so
Yep.
they're more apt to move forward with that. The other thing is we have to look at this in such a way that we're going to do the right thing for the homeowner. And sometimes when you're understanding what the homeowner's telling you, and you're going to throw them into a 12-month no interest, no payment, you also know that that's probably not right for this person, and
Yep.
that we need to know what we're offering and who we're offering it to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's in how, when it comes to financing on that side of things, just to dive deeper into that, how do you ask that question to differentiate which financing program that's best suited for that, or to even kind of let them know, or presenting all three options?
What we typically will do is we'll let them know that we have three types of customers that use a lot of our trade partners. Our trade partners being finance companies. The first one are the folks that these are just cash buyers. They're just looking to use other people's money. So if they say, "Yep, that's me," then they're same as cash buyers all day long.
Yep.
And then, of course, you have the next one, which are the folks that they've been saving up for this. And what they found is that what they saved up is not quite enough to get the project done the way that they want it done. And they just need a little bit of help. And then, of course, you have your third, and these people, they need the financing. And I always throw myself in there because I don't want anybody to feel inferior. So I say, people like myself that really would need this financing. And so they
Mhm.
feel a little bit more comfortable in using that if they have to. And so
Yep.
you'll have the folks that can use 5 years, and then you have people that really do need that 10-year financing.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, well, I think with financing, I think that's a hard one when obviously marketing at different points uses those different marketing as kind of the lever to get leads in the door, or kind of what even we market as an offer, to homeowners on our website, all that kind of stuff. I think that is one unique thing that I've kind of heard more and more of the last 6 months here as well, is that with financing, trying to keep the door open to those three type of buyers, so that you're not stuck in one promotional offer. And that's one thing you run into as well in the home as far as credit declines, is if you have that 24 months, same as cash, and it's kind of walking them back from a sale that they already, you present a price, but they're not qualified for that promotional offer. That's hard for a sales rep to back down from, and still get that, walk away with that sale. So let's talk about as with COVID here. I was even talking to a rep over at Owens Corning the other day, and just talking about the number of squares that they normally see in the roofing industry as a whole. The National Asphalt Roofing Association was saying that there's 130 million squares of roofing average done with. And for the last 2 years, it's been 150 million squares. So that's like a drastic increase there with the number of projects. And it's, for one reason or another, people are home, they're doing these projects more often and doing it now. So recession or not, like that's what people and what even big companies are already seeing, that there's going to be a dip here with the number that's going to self-correct in some way, here, as of the number of volume of leads are going to come down. And people are already seeing some volume of leads starting to decrease in that capacity. So we've talked a lot in previous webinars that when there is volume of leads or opportunity, there comes waste in there too. Now, if volume comes back down, how do we make the most, or how do you recommend, if the volume of leads coming in or volume of inquiries on marketing starts coming down, how do you maximize those leads a little bit more efficiently? Love to kind of hear your thoughts on that.
So the last couple of years, it has been so plentiful with buyers and leads that everybody's taken it for granted. And I'm sure that you've seen this as well with this huge flow of leads coming in. There's always another one. There's always another one. There's always another one. So we don't really pay attention to all the ones that we couldn't set. And
Yep.
so when things start to slow down, people are like, oh, I need to get more leads. It's like, what are you doing with all the leads you already have? People
Yep.
don't understand how to mine data. And they have all of these names, phone numbers, and addresses already inside of their CRMs. They've gotten all this stuff from contractor appointments. It's like, what are you doing with it? Whether it was an appointment or a lead, we can get back in the door, or we can get a hold of that, because now, let's say that they got it from a large lead aggregator. After about 2 weeks, you can recycle that lead, because that day that you got it, you wanted to get a hold of it. After about 2 weeks, where they haven't been getting called every other day, all of a sudden now you can recycle that and start getting them back on the phone again. But again, we have to start squeezing that towel. We have to start looking at all the leads that we already have. And
Mm-hmm.
and as long as they understand how to, either using, how are they using their text technology
Yep.
to get back in? How are they using email? How are they using the phone itself? We can't use dialers anymore, because it gets hit as spam. So we've had to stop. We've also had to stop using dialers ourselves, and we've also started using cell phones. It's not like that's the only thing we have. We have phones,
Yep.
VoIP phones, but when we're trying to get back in touch with people, we have company cell phones that we're starting to use, because they have different phone numbers. They're not looked at as spam, and
Yep.
so therefore we can get a hold of far more people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that was actually an interesting conversation I had with a call center technology the last week. Is that I mean, if you didn't watch our webinar last week, we talked about, obviously, from a dialing perspective, you shouldn't be using a predictive dialer any longer. Your likelihood of coming up spam likely is extremely high, even if you're using a third party like Newstar, and it's just not the correct solution to do that
Right.
anymore. Just from the way to be able to reach leads today, as well as best practices of, like, you should only dial 50 calls from one specific phone number a day. 50 text messages at max from one specific phone number, or else these carriers are starting to block them as spam likely. And the third thing was, which was very, very interesting, is that with the shake and stir that's actually showing up as spam likely today, is that even the call center technology, it was coming across as their personal names on the list and not a company name. So they would even register the phone numbers to people's names were more likely to be answered than like a company name, which I thought was really intriguing
That is
from
good.
that side of
I'm
things.
writing that one down.
Because at the end of the day, we all want this personal experience, and even if we're reaching out to a big company or fill out a form online, we're kind of expecting in the home services space to still have a very personal experience. And if you could still deliver that, and again, we know that contact rates have just been dripping and dropping, over the last 6 to 9 months. So removing your predictive dialer, going into a preview dialer, being very, very specific about those phone numbers can definitely help. So yeah, maximizing every lead and nurturing it for the long haul is huge.
Right.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely key. And then I think that to take on to that here too, I'm curious from just a differentiation. So I know I asked this to you to you earlier this year too, and on another one of our webinars together. But any keys to kind of clear differentiation in the marketplace today? So when it comes to everyone selling, let's stick in the roofing industry, for example. If I'm selling an Owens Corning shingle, they're selling an Owens Corning shingle, or even a different manufacturer shingle. It's like those aren't differentiators in the marketplace today. And I was just on a roofer's website today, and they were like, if we don't do it in 30 days, it's free. And I was like, they're trying. That was like, wow, that was like the biggest, like,
No, I
you
heard
know,
that one before. I like it.
I haven't heard that one before. So I'm just curious the fine print on that one. But I'm curious from especially the roofing industry and even windows, on the front end of the sales process to get yourself in the door, how do you differentiate yourself in today's market to a very, you know, broad audience of homeowners?
Sometimes it's the offer that's put out there. There's many out there that don't have an offer at all, and it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. You don't have
Yep.
to have an offer, but it has to be somewhat. It has to be intriguing to a point where someone's going to say, "Yes, I'd like to get more information on that." And what the other thing that I would suggest is start getting into those niche. If you're gonna really pinpoint on maybe this week we're gonna push metal, don't just blanket everybody with we do all types of roofing. Get right down and start pushing that one piece, because the when you push all types of roofing and somebody wants metal, they're going to go out and search for a metal roofer.
Hmm.
Same thing with shake or slate or any of that stuff. If you do different types of material, roofing material, you want to have specific ads that you're going to push, because those people are going to see it. And then you switch
Yep.
it up to something else, or you can put different ads out there. But we all know that with the new technology today, when someone says, "Hey, I really need metal roofing," and you have a metal roofing ad, it's going to be pushed in front of that person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that when it comes to like a unique offer or, and a unique value proposition that you present to anyone, like the more specific and niche it is, the better. So you're talking to that person exactly where they're looking for an asphalt shingle roof, and not many people Google asphalt shingle roof because they don't use those terms. They use shingle roof for, that's kind of so if you can, but you can have your ads and everything correlated to that versus a metal roof versus a shake roof and so forth. Try to get in their shoes and talk their language and have all the, everything kind of follow in that, along that lines, even to the sales presentation. We've seen some companies who like brand just for metal roofing, and they have this whole like everything is metal roofing, and then that's the company name and all that kind of stuff. It's still, installed by the same company. It's just DBAs for each type of, material or product that they sell, to differentiate each one of them. Yeah, so let's dive into some really cool technology that you guys have been pushing here too. I'd love to just talk about that. So obviously, when it comes to marketing and just lead conversion, and there's been this abundance of leads that like we all need to work those leads better now that there's fewer of them. So how do we get more out of them? And that's one thing. But when it comes to the other flip of the coin there, when it comes to sales,
Yeah.
and salespeople have consistently had more appointments per day consistently over the last 2 years than I can ever say on record that I can think of. I'm curious in your experience, but like there has been a flow of sales appointments for sales reps out here as well, which, you know, just like there's waste in this in the marketing that we go, where's just another lead, so the caller puts down the phone and says my $5 commission might be on the next phone call. Well, I'll go after that one. I'm not going to fight hard for this one to try to, overcome some objections. It's the same thing for sales. I've already got my commission for the day. I closed my first sale, and my second one here, it's like I walk in the door, it's I'm prejudging that one. I'm gonna, you know, do my very best to give them an estimate and kind of walk through some of the stuff and then move on. But how do you keep your sales reps accountable and make the most out of every issued lead to them? So I think some companies, some sales reps, I feel like do this inherently. They're just going to do the right thing every single time. And then I think we all need a little bit of accountability at the end of the day. So I'm curious to hear how you're doing that. I'll let you take it from there. I'll just talk for you.
So, and just like you mentioned, a lot of these reps have just become very lazy in the house. And so the best thing to do is to ride with them. Well, you can't ride with every rep on every appointment until now. And so we have been working on this technology. We've been working very diligently with a voice company to bring this into fruition. And so it's the Top Rep Copilot program. And so now you have the opportunity to have, record every appointment, and to the point where the sales manager and the sales rep can have it broken down and assessed by the end of the appointment. By the time that rep gets back to the appointment or back to their car, it's already broken down so that they can see what they did right, what they did wrong, as well as the manager can go through it very quickly. It's not like he or she is listening to an hour and a half long presentation. Doesn't have to. It's already broken down into certain things that need to be listened to, and we can find out very quickly, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing in the house? If they are, let's say that one of these top reps are out there, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. I want to take that clip and I want to move it into a box where I can share that with other people in our company. And we can say, hey, instead of waiting to a sales meeting for someone to say, yeah, I do that too, we can actually let you listen to what it sounds like in the house. And then another flip to this is when we have our clients and they're starting to use this program, us as coaches can listen to them as well. And so we have to keep it very positive. It's not one of these things where it's big brother watching. It's not about that. It's about saying, hey, I need you to do this a little bit differently. Hey, when you said that you don't do the price assurance guarantee, or that you always do the price assurance guarantee, I didn't hear it on the last three. We need to make sure that we do that so we can shut down the shoppers. I'm not hearing the trial close at all. When we get to the price presentation, you're still using that voice of authority. We need to make sure your voice inflection is a lot lower. So again, we're helping these sales reps continue to get better in the house and stay away from getting lazy. But that's through that Top Rep Copilot program. And what's even nicer is we have made this program that's already out there much better, and we don't charge anything more for it. So you have a lot more stability and being able to use that, and we can help the sales manager understand how to use it as well.
Well, absolutely. I think in this type of technology has been out there for, like, again, technology and virtual sales over Zoom and helping coach sales reps to be better. Because at the end of the day, like, what you're doing is you're trusting a sales rep with an issued lead. And we can track that back to NSLI. We can track it back to any of those metrics. But at the end of the day, we can get lost in the data. And the data can only tell us so much. And then just like you said, when the data starts to drop, then we're going back in and doing ride-alongs, what's the likelihood of a sales rep trying to do his or her very best on that ride-along call for you, and you just pointing out a bunch of details versus hearing every single presentation and analyzing it. So I think there's a way to pitch it so it is not to your sales reps that it is not Big Brother. It is just like, it's accountability. It's like, how do we get better so you continually get better at what you do? And that's the goal, to make sure that if I'm going to hand you a lead, that it's, you're following our process. That's why we're paying you, to follow our process and to be able to do this in an effective way. And it's a way to be able to maximize every opportunity, every issue lead that you actually hand over to a customer. So, over to your sales rep. So, for a program like this, do they actually have to be a coaching customer of yours right now, or can they do that? I think the other piece of it is like with any new technology, I think what holds most of us back as business owners is just like, great, well, I'm gonna add a new piece of technology that's gonna take way more time, and then somebody has to learn how to do this, and then like, when are we gonna we don't have enough time in the day. How are we gonna go analyze these phone calls, and then what are we even gonna do after we analyze these audio recordings? So that's what I love, that you guys are actually walking people through, and like, now that you have this, what are you gonna do about it? And there too. So are you kind of finding everybody kind of, does your coaching program, and just speak with a manager, kind of explain them, go through it with them? How has that best been working?
It's been a game changer. It really has been. There's a lot of game changers out there, but there has been nothing as good as this. Whether they're a coaching client and we really help them understand that the process on how to go through it, or they want to go in and just do it themselves, they can still go into the Copilot program, and we will still, there's best practices in there that we can help them with so that they understand how to manage their team through that Copilot program. What they're going to find that is so easy is once these recordings start to come in, how to watch for certain key phrases. And so if they start to use the word kinda and shoulda, I mean, these weak, words, and they're going to start to realize that that's one of the reasons why they're starting to slow down on their sales. The other thing is when they start to realize that inside the close, they start to trail off, and before you know it, everybody just wants to email I'll just go ahead and I'll email the proposal to you. I'll email the quote. We're starting to hear that a lot.
Yep.
And they'll before now, everybody's no. I told him that, we just reset the appointment. And what's actually said in the house is not what's being said to the sales manager. So
Yep.
we want to know this so that we can continue to close these jobs and keep the close rates high.
Yeah, well, I think it all backs into what we've heard again. Marketing costs have been increasing, leads have been decreasing. It's like, well, it ultimately it's a in marketing and sales can be so separated in organizations and measured very differently. But at the end of the day, we're one organization that they do have to, and they do affect each other significantly because we're backing this stuff out to a marketing cost at the end of the day.
Right.
One sale from a sales rep, one additional sale can drastically change that marketing cost and make one channel worth it. When it wasn't, just as effective before. We do this at scale with large, number of clients right now. And yeah, one sale can still make one lead source look good or not look good
Right.
at the end of the day. So it's ever important to make sure you're maximizing every opportunity all the way through until the, very bottom of your funnel. Well, thank you so much for walking through this here with us, Chuck. So just to kind of recap, I know when it comes to recession, it's I think we the financial markets have been hit in different ways, and I think we're going to continually see where this takes us. Will we actually hit true recession, and what does that look like and feel like for the home improvement industry? And I think we'll find out a lot as we go through the next fall, 6 months to a year here for sure. But at the end of the day, it's about maximizing every opportunity. So how do you be able to improve your systems, double down on the sources that are working and the sources, and make sure you're cutting sources that you're not measuring or you can't measure
Mhm.
there as well. So making sure that you're just, creating stability for your organization as a whole. And I think implementing technology and accountability throughout the entire sales process, marketing process is a huge part of that. So, um, I love the Copilot program. I think I think it will truly revolutionize the way in-home sales is done today, and I think we'll have tremendous success there. So I'm super excited to kind of see that. Chuck, how can they kind of reach out to you, or even learn more about that, or just Top Rep in general, or reach out to you personally?
The easiest way to reach out to me and get more information on this is sales coach at contractorcoachpro.com. And we'll make sure that someone gets in touch with them. And whether they just want to demo the program or they just want to get some questions asked. One of the biggest questions that we get asked, and I know that everybody's out there thinking it, is, is this the whole recording, in the house, is this against the law? Is this something that we have to watch out for? And we hear this all the time. Unless you're in California or Florida, you really don't have to let them know. The other thing is what the technology is so keen and so pinpointed that we can record just the sales rep where the homeowner's not recorded. So if you're really nervous about that, then we can just record the sales rep, and the sales rep is the one that turns it on, so they know they're being recorded. So
Yep.
we can work around just about any issue or insecurity that you might have about the program. But we can answer any questions that you have and get a demo to you. Just go to sales coach at contractorcoachpro.com.
Awesome. That sounds good. And yeah, well, I appreciate Chuck, you just being on here and walking through here with us. I know you're going to join us later again this year for another webinar, but we will follow up this webinar here with just a recording of it. Obviously, you can take some nuggets away from it, hopefully for you and your team. As well as we've had a couple people ask just about, again, just the link to the additional resources that we have on our website. So we'll definitely send those off to you as well. So thank you all for your time. Chuck, thank you so much for your time today. And we'll see everybody real soon. Join us next week.